narrative that has been broadly accepted is that Elon easy life. Elon's parents, Errol and May, were mostly separated just 9 months after Elon was born. Errol was a successful engineer and May was an aspiring supermodel, and the two busy parents left young Elon home with his two siblings, Kimball and Tosca Musk. I didn't really have a primary nanny or anything, Musk recalls. I just had a housekeeper who was there to make sure I didn't break anything. She wasn't like watching me. I was off making and reading books and building rockets and doing things that could have gotten me killed. I'm shocked that I have all my fingers. I was raised by books, and then my parents. Elon was surprisingly proactive for a child, studying programming, reading science fiction, and teaching himself to code his first video game. As if that didn't make him unlike 12-year-olds, he was also trying to discover the meaning of life.
About 11 or 12 years old. Because it was just a meaning in the world, like a meaning to life. I read all the religious texts. I've read through the Bible, and the Torah, a bit on the Hindu side. Just trying to understand all these things. But then I read Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is really a book of philosophy. I don't even know what the right questions are to ask. The thing that's going to take a computer far more powerful than Earth is to understand what question to ask.
Yeah, right.
That's the big one.
So was that the key realization?
That was fundamental turning point, yeah.
And just like that, Elon's life philosophy was set in stone. Stay curious, keep learning, keep asking questions, keep solving problems, and keep progressing towards finding the answers or the questions of the life. But it wasn't smooth sailing from there. Growing up in South Africa, violence was all around him, and Elon was about to experience some harsh life lessons at a young age. But real quick, have you ever Googled your name and seen yourself on one of those strange sites that has too much information about you? It feels pretty weird. If you've ever wondered how scammers get your phone number or why your inbox is flooded with spam, this is why. There are data broker companies that sell your data without your consent and make billions doing it. They're legally required to remove your info if you ask, but they make the process difficult and confusing on purpose. That's where today's sponsor, Aura, comes in. They take care of the hard part and automatically remove
horse
your
meat
info from these sites. I use Aura to keep
niggas
myself
eating horse
and my
meat
loved
to
ones
get
safe
strong,
from
bro.
brokers and other sketchy
That's some
online
gay shit.
threats. You may already have a digital security tool, but Aura is so much more. Aura will alert you if your personal info is found on the dark web, gives you real-time fraud alerts with 24/7 monitoring, gives you access to VPN, antivirus, a password manager, and more. If anything does happen, Aura includes $5 million in identity theft insurance protection, and they have US fraud experts ready to help. Try Aura free for 14 days at aura.com/PatrickCC. In those 2 weeks, you'll discover where your data is being exposed and sold. I'm not leaving myself vulnerable. children with her when he was in his 70s. Elon's first wed just didn't go this way. In South Africa, I think you have to show yourself down emotionally in some ways. If your father is always calling you a moron and your response is to turn off anything inside that would have opened up an emotional dimension that he didn't have the tools to deal with. He learned to shut down fear. If you turn off fear, then maybe you have to turn off other things like joy or empathy. Now, turning off fear, joy, and empathy was key to becoming the business savant that he is. However, his traumatic childhood has made his fantasy Elon to develop arguably the best reputation of any billionaire because if the full truth was revealed when it comes to his business practices, he may not be seen as the otherworldly genius he believes that he is. Since he was originally born in Canada, he was able to escape the harsh environment of South Africa to attend college. After 2 years, he transferred to the University of Pennsylvania, where he studied until 1995. Elon became interested in the world of entrepreneurship in college, starting his businesses to help pay for tuition. Silicon Valley is the home of innovation and university. After graduation, Elon and his brother Peter set off to California to build a business tree. Called Zip2 to a company called Compaq for $307 million. And with $22 million in his pocket from the sale, Elon could have easily retired. But $22 million was chunky in that industry, so he thought bigger. He used all of his money to create an online banking business called Atlan, all in one This project was too big for Elon, so he decided to merge right next door to
Idiots.
Instead of slowing down, SpaceX, a space transportation and aerospace manufacturing company with a primary mission to colonize Mars. Elon Musk invested $1 billion of his PayPal
the budget, and so maybe they can do it. The United States, maybe more than any other country, is a distillation of the human spirit that's great. It's really fundamental to psyche. So if people think there's a way, I think they'd actually get a lot of support.
Although this may seem small, it's actually a huge
So much money that he could feed the entire planet's triple time orbit.
Check your calendar in the morning. Production and built infrastructure, but he was able to prove to the U.S. consumer that his EVs will change our future. In 2016, Tesla collected over 400,000 reservations for the Model 3, each with a $1,000 deposit, generating over $400 million in cash flow without delivering a single unit. Year over year, both of Elon's companies secured around $1 billion in federal contracts, loans, subsidies, and tax credits. But greatness does take time, and as you can imagine, the type of innovation Elon is going for is not going to be cheap, which is why U.S. citizens on both sides of the political spectrum were more than happy to know that their tax dollars were helping Elon make cheaper electric cars and keep the U.S. in the space race.
You're not mistaken when they think that technology just automatically improves. It does not automatically improve. It only improves if a lot of people work very hard to make it better, and actually it will by itself degrade. You look at great civilizations like Egypt, and they were making pyramids, and they forgot how to do that. I mean, the Romans, they had incredible aqueducts, they forgot how to do it.
Elon Musk launched his personal Tesla Roadster into space aboard the maiden flight of SpaceX's rocket as a test payload. The stunt demonstrated the rocket's power and was a genius marketing stunt that combined his two brilliant innovations. By this point, Elon Musk had zero haters. He went on talk shows, PR tours, and hung out with the most famous people in Hollywood. He painted a picture of life unimaginable before, and people were buying into it. Tesla cars will be able to drive themselves, there will be an underground transportation exclusively for Teslas, so we have robots to assist around homes, communicate telepathically through chips installed into our brains called Neuralink, and ultimately we will be a part of an interplanetary utopia in the next century. He is a certified tech celebrity, and people were all in on his vision for the future. But as silly as it sounds, the moment that sent Elon Musk to superstardom was his 20th appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast when he shared a little bit of that devil's lettuce while wearing an Occupy Mars t-shirt. This moment was astronomically viral, with every news publication, Silicon Valley executive, and 4chan user talking about genius Elon Musk
Starting a business,
this was
doing
the
what you
moment
love
people
is
really
thrilling.
started looking at
Along with
Musk
an
like he
LLC,
was
you'll need
one
to
of the
stay
guys,
compliant
a
with state
billionaire,
and federal
unlike other
requirements.
billionaires.
It can be
Tesla stock
overwhelming,
took a
but
minor
we've got you
hit
covered.
after the JRE
Zen
episode,
Business
but
makes it easy.
rebounded almost
We take care of all the
immediately.
details you
Policy
don't want to deal
Google
with.
was at
We
an
even send
all-time
compliance
high,
reminders
and from
so you
here
can
that it
focus on
became
your
very
craft and
apparent
your
that Elon
customers.
loved
Business
it.
is complicated.
He loved the spotlight.
Zen
He
Business
loved the
makes it
praise.
easy.
He loved being a celebrity. He also needed the people's love so he can keep experimenting with stays on the government's dime. And this would start his journey of going to ridiculous measures to maintain public approval.
You spent 2 years shadowing him. What did you learn that we didn't already know about Elon Musk? Well, there's certainly multiple Elon Musk, multiple personalities. But more importantly, he had a electronic assembly line that will make the battery pack. Very problematic when it came to acquiring Twitter, which I think involves more emotional intelligence.
Elon Musk made his first tweet in 2010 saying, "Please ignore private tweets," as that was someone pretending to be me. This is actually me. And at the start, it was primarily just him trolling and sharing the latest about Tesla and SpaceX. He posted about the most recent launch or encouraged people to invest in Doge, a meme coin that people invest in for laughs. While this might have seemed innocent at the time, this was actually a big problem for someone with his personality type. And it was made worse when you consider the sort of Twitter culture as a whole. People think that society's loss of sanity on Twitter happened in recent years. Racial divide, political fights, and slurs are part of the daily experience. But the truth is, Twitter has always been a chaotic place. There are hundreds of millions of people constantly posting about what is going on in their head at any given time. What could possibly go wrong? Twitter is basically other social media platforms on steroids. If you want to troll, all you have to do is quote the tweet with an insult and make the post your own. If you want to preach, all you have to do is start a thread. And if you're famous enough, growing a cult following and punishing your enemies is only a few clicks away. And Elon Musk was about to learn this one tweet at a time, starting with when he falsely accused a rescue diver of abusing minors. In 2018, a youth soccer team and their coach were trapped in a flooded cave in Thailand for 18 days.
We can now refer to as the Lucky 13, the Wild Boars football team versus Young They went missing after match practice. They've explored this particular case before, but were apparently trapped by a sudden monsoon.
Worse, the rising water levels were unpredictable. Specialists made it known to the public that if the boys and the coach weren't saved soon, there was a possibility that they'd drown regardless. As the crisis escalated, 110 Navy SEALs were deployed to find a rescue method. Jessica Tate, the public affairs officer of the U.S. Air Force, said, "This is a Thai-led multinational rescue operation, and what's fantastic is that you see the U.S. here, the Australians, the Chinese, the British divers, obviously. It shows that when militaries train together, it's for this. It's for the real world." And given the tales of heroism coming from the news story on Twitter, Elon Musk couldn't help but get in on the action. While the team of professionals considered scuba diving to navigate the caves, Musk stayed on brand, claiming that after feedback from Thailand, the best course of action would be to build kid-sized submarines out of rocket parts to get the boys out. The logistics of this sub operation seemed more like fantasy than actually planned. A number of teammates believed that it only harmed flood victims. The rescue diver named Vern Unsworth came out and rejected the idea, telling the to shut his plane before it occurs.
Moved after very quickly. So it should have been.
Most people sided with Musk. Was honorable. Unsworth attacked have swum to Cave 5 with how the keys got. If not true, then I challenge this dude to show the final rescue video. Huge credit to Pump and Generator Team and some viewers. You know what? That's not really we went 20 minutes, so it's going all the way down to Cave 5 no problemo. It should have been a heartwarming story about millions playing for a non-suffocating survival turned into masks stage. To make matters worse, Unsworth couldn't compete with Elon's cult of personality. To save his reputation, Unsworth took Elon Musk to jail for $1 million for defamation, claiming it harmed his personal relationships and career. But Elon weaponized his confidence and money to make sure that he had peace. Instead, by saying that this tweet was said at the time that he thought Unsworth was who was unwilling to rescue him. Apology from Musk in court, Unsworth's lawyer stayed on message, citing another now-deleted tweet of the billionaire sentence followers saying that they are silent. He also cited an email exchange that Mr. Musk had with a BuzzFeed reporter who contacted him about legal action, but Unsworth said, "Stop the phone." Justice is only justice when money is involved, and Elon won the
Not many people have the courage to do that, but on limited resources in this case, we will the best we can. We work night and day for Vernon. We believe Vernon, we believe in his cause. He's properly a hero, and he has been recognised as such.
Didn't sit right with people outside of his fan base. But just as things started to slip away, Elon shared something deeply personal to the public. He told everyone that he had undiagnosed Asperger's when he was brought on to host SNL. Asperger's is part of the autism spectrum disorder, and signs of Asperger's syndrome include repetitive behaviors, sensory sensitivity, social difficulties, identifying motor skills, and sometimes a lack of close friendships, all of which Elon seems to struggle with. Kind of suspicious to me. It's true that Elon's mannerisms and behavior fit the description, but some people believe this was another way to clean up his public image. Regardless, Elon learned a lesson about online battles with Mark Zuckerberg, he lied his way out of getting his ass beat. The relationship between Elon Musk and Mark was to remove SpaceX from the platform's road. These decisions were seen as perfectly reasonable. Facebook had grown reputation for stealing data, as Zuckerberg was and is notorious for stealing people's information and selling it to the highest bidder. However, we at the time did not see that Zuckerberg was actually a part of a master plan. He didn't just troll Zuckerberg for the fun of it like everyone else. He saw him as the billionaire battle. Elon tweeted, "I'm sure Earth can't wait to be exclusively under Zuck's thumb with no other option." Was worried there for a moment. Someone replied, "Better be careful, Elon. I heard he does the and then Elon replied, "I'm up for a cage match if he is." Understanding Musk's fragile ego, Zuckerberg began roasting Elon by posting an Instagram story with the caption, "Send me your location," referring to the Habib Nurmagomedov and Conor McGregor saga, as well as posting the Spider-Man meme hinting at the Threads vs. Twitter battle. And the public interest was explosive. Musk suggested that the fight take place in the Vegas Octagon, and people thought that they'd get a chance to see two middle-aged billionaires fight with their actual fists. And while Mark isn't the greatest fighter on the planet, he has spent a considerable amount of his free time training with MMA professionals in the past few years. Also, Zuck was now winning competitive matches, and even Musk's most dedicated fanboys understood that he wasn't in the best shape of his life. Elon has claimed that over the years he trained in several different martial arts, but that he was weak and in no way capable of taking on Zuckerberg. Regardless, Elon continued trolling Zuckerberg on Twitter. To get desperate and started looking at this for what it was. Two Asian missionaries with fragile egos on a quest to convince everyone else that they were family. And just when it looked like things couldn't get any more painful, Elon pulled out of the fight with just as many excuses as he had when the curtains were up. As soon as they agreed on that, he just kept
Now, how much I'm a way bigger than him. Is that fair? I know you. Well, you know, like a walrus doesn't need martial arts training. Right. Because it's really big. You don't want to go wrestling a walrus. Right. Because you're rolling. Have you ever rolled with someone who's much smaller than you that does jiu-jitsu? Yes. Yeah, no, I do.
Joe's wondering, should I just let this whole "I'm bigger than him" thing slide? This is the first time I've seen Joe not call someone out on their BS related to their All of his excuses for avoiding the fight were honest. Twitter wasn't helping him either. Elon made countless efforts to change his public image over the years. He also started to change his value system, transforming from a balanced tech bro into a die-hard patriot with a political message to save the human race. When Elon first became popular, he never seemed like he had picked a side when it came to politics. He donated to the Republican Bush-Cheney campaign. Like President Barack Obama's environmental stance, he donated over $100,000 to him and his programs between 2007 and 2011. And in an interview with The Atlantic in 2014, he described himself as being half Republican and half Democrat. Even as Redditors started to turn on him because of his focus on Twitter, Musk would double down on the fact that he was a moderate, and that he was a humanitarian that felt everything he was doing was for the betterment of society as a whole. But after he started criticism of the left, Musk once again started to get reactive. He and many others in the country felt like progressives had taken their message a bit too far, censoring their opinions and pitching an agenda that would be enforced with a Elon's stance had completely changed. He became more and more vocal about the rights of working class Americans and felt that he was one of the only people with extreme wealth who saw the world for what it really was. In the past, I believed takeover was more extreme than ever before. Starlink has been told by some governments to block Russian news sources. They will not do so unless acknowledged. Sorry, that matches the law. I am against censorship that goes far beyond the law. If people want less free speech, they will ask government to pass laws to that effect. Therefore, going beyond the law is contrary to the will of the people. As promised, this platform will fight for your freedom to speak. We expect many such battles in the future. Freedom of speech is the bedrock of democracy. Without it, America ends. Musk felt so passionate about protecting free speech online that $44 billion for the purchase of Twitter was worth it. So now he could control and deem what free speech is. He started by firing about 6,000 employees, which was 80% of the workforce. Then he restored banned accounts and publicized political free speech promises. But behind the scenes, Musk was allegedly banning self-proclaimed anti-fascist journalists. He claimed they were crazy stalkers and a danger to society. He also considered himself a champion for comedy, saying really cringy things like legalize comedy because comedians were being canceled, aka criticized for their jokes. Then again, he reportedly began removing posts of a Dave Chappelle show at the Chase Center where he was basically booed off stage. Inside sources, Musk was visibly disturbed when he saw the ex-president Joe Biden got more views than him on a Super Bowl post. In response, Musk reportedly hired 80 engineers to work around the clock to re-engineer the algorithm to favor his tweets over anyone else's. And today, it's insanely noticeable. Twitter has essentially become a Musk diary filled with memes and his personal thoughts. He's often telling ex-users that you are the media now, but it's starting to seem like he is the media now. He also still had the world's biggest podcast absolutely glazing him.
Thank you so much for buying Twitter.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
My heart goes out to you.
Can't even perform a Nazi salute without being called a Nazi these days. Shaking my head. I can think of like 15 different gestures to show my appreciation to a crowd, and none of them look remotely like that. Reichest man in the world. Wait, did I spell that right? Again, Musk's behavior on the campaign trail was cringy, embarrassing, and straight up sad for a billionaire. But the salute? This one was hard to defend, even for his supporters. His remaining fanboys tried all sorts of things to excuse his behavior, like showing images of other political figures holding up their hands or claiming that this was some sort of autistic spasm. Even Joe Rogan came to his defense.
We were talking about the Elon gas, where he's like, my heart goes out to you. Like, hey, don't do that, though. That's the perfect example. You're going to see the silly hand gesture and see that effect. Well, he's saying my heart goes out to you, but that is how the Nazis did it.
Joe Rogan has completely sold out. Now, some people believe that Elon doing this salute was him just openly admitting that he's a white supremacist. Some people believe that he is an evil billionaire. Others believe that he was just joking, and this is a troll. But what we can all agree on is that this was a Nazi salute. And from here on out, the lies and scandals continue to stack up. The most embarrassing one is the billionaire pretending to be a top 20 ranked player in Diablo 4, which is a video game that takes players into a world where the forces of evil are led by a demon named Lilith, where your objective is to continuously battle progressively harder and harder opponents. And while that sounds like every video game imaginable, Diablo 4's difficulty is legendary in the world of action role-playing. Not everyone is capable of getting into it because of how complex it gets after each phase.
The top 20 and even the top 100 is like totally dominated by China.
So are you in the top 20 in the world, or
Yeah.
top 20? Wow, in Diablo.
Yeah.
People were suspicious how Musk could lead the US's space race, build fully self-driving automobiles, run an entirely new government agency appointed by President Trump, tweet every hour of the day, and still find time to be a top 20 ranked player in a video game that other elite players dedicate their lives to. If Musk actually earned his position in the top 20 for Diablo, it would either mean A, he never goes to work and has a robot to replace him, or B, he is straight up lying. YouTuber Quinn69TV deep dove into this subject and came to the conclusion that Elon likely pays people to play the game for him on his account, essentially boosting his ranking to the world top 20 while Elon is justifiably busy running his businesses and tweeting his favorite memes.
So right away we see Elon zone into his hideout, which is the area you do in-game content from. And he opens up his bank and he goes to a tab called Elon's Maps, which immediately is a little bit of a red flag because I don't know why you would refer to yourself as a person, but okay, he does that. Elon Musk didn't play Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2. Maps are actually called waystones. And he never actually refers to them as maps, he calls them...
Play another round here. This is a hard level, Waystone.
So it's just kind of weird that he's, again, called this tab Elon's Maps. So almost like someone who's a Path of Exile 1 veteran, you know, is kind of making that tab and be like, Elon, you know, there's a tab there called Elon's Maps. Drag your map out there. I've rolled them all for you, nice and easy.
The funniest part about this controversy is that it ended up doing more damage to his reputation than his Roman salute. It takes a special kind of narcissism to be on track to be the world's first trillionaire, meddling in governments all over the world, and still be insecure enough to lie about being good at video games. Soon he will cry, "It's just a joke, obviously," and all his fanboys will say, "Haha, he was just trolling the mad gamers, because that's how smart he is." At the same time, Elon was about to lose a massive chunk of his conservative fan base when he decided to support H-1B visas, which is a U.S. non-immigrant visa that allows employers to temporarily employ foreign workers in specialty occupations. Even though he was claiming to be America first, he was looking for foreign labor, but he claimed that this visa allows the greatest talent in the world to work in the U.S. Now, to clarify, H-1B visas aren't necessarily a bad thing. They often give opportunities to engineers and other specialized workers who can't make enough money in their home countries. What makes them bad is that oligarchs have used them since the 90s for borderline slave labor, as termination would result in the employee being sent back to their home overseas. Tech companies all over the Western world love these work visas because they can control a low-paid workforce, constantly threatening them with the possibility of deportation. When people on both sides of the aisle questioned why he would support these visas, Elon responded with an unhinged rant calling out the working class. The reason I'm in America, along with so many critical people who built SpaceX, Tesla, and hundreds of other companies that made America strong, is because of H-1B. Take a big step back and F yourself in the face. I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend. The post was not only a cringeworthy reference to Tropic Thunder, but it also proved to a lot of people that Elon Musk was just like every other tech billionaire wishing to exploit policy. And all of this has resulted in Elon Musk's reputation absolutely imploding. Even friends of Joe Rogan refuse to pretend to like the guy.
Okay, video game
He's continuing to ban words and suspend accounts that disagree with him. Plus, with a loss of faith, Tesla's stock has plummeted by 50%. He's made himself the face of his companies, and now they will fall with his shortcomings. But there are a lot of questions up in the air about why Elon would do any of this at all. Just 5 years ago, Musk was an enemies almost It's only lately that people seem to have lost faith in who he is and what he represents, and that's because, ironically, he is no longer in control of his narrative. Because of his own free speech efforts, people see through the marketing campaign that he has pushed for the past 2 decades. Musk is a greater marketer than anything, a PR expert. SpaceX is without a doubt an incredible company, producing amazing innovation and advancing our space exploration to heights that we can reach. There's no doubt that this company has been kept alive with billions of your tax dollars. Mars to receive besties with the president, and is currently cozied up at the White House making friends with his space explorations long after Trump leaves office. Elon Musk is a business genius that most people don't give him credit for. He convinces everyone that his plans are so much larger than life that people couldn't help but give him endless amounts of cash to just see what he can do. And to his credit, he helped make environmental awareness fashionable. He inspired people to think about what life would be like on other planets.
Take advantage of the flexibility and diversity of futures trading with NinjaTrader, the #1 rated futures broker. Start trading futures today.
And lately, he's beginning to prove that his corporate leaders are all the same. He bends the truth for his own aims, silences critics, and to save his image, and appears to have graduated to the stage that most wealthy people do, using a vast fortune to make his way into the center of power. At this point, nobody knows who Elon Musk really is or what his true motives seem to be, and it's beginning to look like that might be what he wanted all along.
I'm annoyed now.
I grow tired of your petty squabbling. Gather tribute. Earn my favor.
Double kill.
My favor is yours. Your enemies shall fall.
We're on our way to winning. I cast a long shadow. Funny, there used to be a fall. Something finally went right. Fine.
Let the curse end. Brings my favor once more.
Just go ahead, don't come back. Out of
choice is simple.
Talent? I'd say so. Just go away and don't come back. Ah, much better.
Every time petty squabbling, gather truth.
Easy enough. Choose a talent.
Oh shit.
Thanks for the relief.
This healer is very weird. If you healing me, heal me, dude. Stop taking the thing off.
What in the world? What is that? What is that?
gentlemen, please strap yourselves in, because this ride is not for the faint of heart. The day before profile video game release of the bro, you got Forspoken with
Why do you have to be part of the problem?
This team.
Let's put some gravy on it.
I don't really care about winning right now. I just want to get kills, honestly.
Enough. The curse is over.
I stopped caring like a long time ago. Oh, GG's. GG's. GG's, no Reese. Oh wait, this is bronze. So I guess no GG's. Oh, never mind. GG's. GG's, GG's. Oh, she came right back to die. GG's. Unbelievable. How can you leave for like, I don't know, 5 months, 6 months or whatever? Come back, and the players in this game are still ass. I still don't believe it. Like, you have YouTube, you have streamers, you got everything to learn how to play. But everyone is still ass in this game. It's just mind-boggling. Mind-blowing.
That's what they're gonna call the next scam. Before The Last of Us. Oh my god, I cracked the code! Also, apparently, some of the 8-baller guy plagiarism. Plagiarism right here. Look at this. Yeah, they copied this and they copied Lockout's Coldwar trail. This is just the iceberg of things that were stolen, copied, or plagiarized to make this. Also, side note, let's look at the Discord server is like right now.
Welcome to Boilerplate Heaven. Oh.
So knowing what we know, let's go look at the developer responses and work our way down, because that's where things get very strange. Which, by the way, the studio behind this game deleted all the videos on their channel. That's bizarre. That's interesting. Also, the CEO of the company purged all of his social media accounts. That's a good sign. It's also a good sign when they're rebranding their older games to a different studio name. Not suspicious at all. Not suspicious at all. But the real goal is on the fantastic Twitter. So this is their official statement. 27 million views. The day we announced the closure of Fantastic Studio, unfortunately the day before his failed financially. And we lack the funds to continue. What do you mean it failed? It's been 4 days. You haven't even gotten paid yet. Imagine a YouTuber opens up like a merch shop, and then 4 days later he's like, nah, we gotta shut this down. We didn't sell enough t-shirts, guys. 4 days, yeah, that's enough time. Just shut her down. All income received is being used to pay off debts to our partners. It's weird how they make money 3 times in like 2 sentences. Who are your partners, Rebel? We invested all our efforts, resources, and man-hours into the development of the day before, which was our first huge game. You didn't have shit for resources, bro. Also, fun fact, they say man-hours and resources are using a volunteer developer force. Have you ever heard of this? What is this, the coal mines? Volunteer developers? Unfortunately, we don't have the work. What work? You didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. You released like one hotfix and then like tabbed out. It's important to note that we didn't take any money from the public during the development of the day before. I like how they have to specify this. They seem ultra concerned about money for some suspicious reason. I wonder why. Brain blast. It's because this was a scam. We did everything within our power, but unfortunately we miscalculated our capabilities. Creating games is an incredibly challenging endeavor. Again, all these statements are super fucking funny with the power of hindsight. They also say they took 5 years to develop this game. The fun thing about that is there was this Reddit post by Epic Story 1989, shout out to him for compiling this, that catalogs all of the assets this game purchased from the Unreal Engine store. Look at that. Right down to the, look at this, the inventory system. They didn't make this, they just purchased an asset. This game is an asset flip. Now, what that means is developers can buy things like this to speed up development of their games. And usually with independent studios, it's more of a thing, I believe. But it helps so that they don't have to create it themselves. Now, for some parts of the game, that's totally fine to do. But just it's just insane. The fucking city, like the city the game is set in, is a purchased asset. They didn't make that. I don't think they made anything in this game. So what they did was they bought all these assets and then they just threw it in a blender and they pushed it out there while making fake trailers to promote a different looking game entirely. So it's incredibly funny when the company talks about how much effort, blood, sweat, and tears they put into this. But I don't know what the fuck they actually made. If you're curious to check out this post, I will link it in the description. And they also had issues with the trademark of the game. Filing January 7, 2022, status application remains suspended. So I could be wrong, but it sounds like they didn't even have an actual trademark to this game. The rabbit hole is insane. Here's a post from the CEO Edward Golkowski, which shows 200,000 sales in just a few short days. 1,000 of those refunded. And that they have a contract with Sony for $1 million a year. So that's I'm really curious and looking for an explanation as to how this could happen. Luckily, Fantastic responded to some people on Twitter. Unbelievable that you guys hyped this game up so much, and this is the end result. You are an absolute disgrace to the video game industry. This was our first big experience. Shit happens. Shit happens. Are you kidding me? It's like a fucking... This is like highbrow satire parody, I think. The most incompetent video game studio that has ever graced the planet. Imagine if CD Projekt Red was like 4 days after Cyberpunk came out, was just like, this is a much bigger game than we've done.
Prepare yourself as best you can.
Where's the PR department? Where's the PR department, bro? Is that made up of volunteers too? So what? Other people's work is 98% assets when we use these stores. You flip the numbers, you know this is entirely our work.
Systems
So that was
online.
why community notes
10
which
seconds.
leads to this Reddit page I showed.
5,
December
4, 3,
This is
2,
4 days ago.
1.
After 5 years of blood, sweat, and tears, we can finally say these words. The day before is out now. They had to have known that they were going to shut this studio down and that this was going to be a complete disaster. So with the power of trying to stuff, this shit is fucking... This is where it gets weird. December 4th. Oh yeah, we are.
That was a nice shot. I did not see him down there.
I guess you were the endangered one. Assist me, my friend. The Zerg are eliminated.
Really bad. But I stealthed it.
What a pick me up.
Power spike for the beacons. They'll be active soon.
Try a little storm scout. Is our fountain of power.
Death status confirmed. Select a tyrant. Alert. Zerg attack in progress. Key lost. Alert. Your phone is under attack.
I'm gonna switch over to something else. Browse 3.
So just recently there was a patch that hit Ashes of Creation that seemed pretty tame. It mainly had quality of life updates, the ability to link items to chat, some bug fixes. Honestly, at its surface level, a pretty good patch. But then, there it was. The knife in the back. The devil is in the details. Junedark nodes are now available. Now, some of you guys that don't play the game a lot might be seeing that and going, wait, that's good, right? More nodes, more content in the game. That's a good thing, right? Wrong. Actually, completely and totally wrong. Now, I know a good chunk of you guys don't actually play Ashes of Creation, or you're just a more casual player and don't understand the nitty-gritty details, so I will explain it. A lot of you guys that watch Ashes of Creation PvP clips and you enjoy the YouTube shorts or whatever, a lot of that footage coming from me, or really anybody, is coming from lawless PvP zones. Those are the areas where people do the vast majority of PvP in the game. It's really the only consistent form of PvP content. And anybody that's played this game, even if you're a huge PvP like myself, will tell you that 95+% of the game is PvP. The vast majority of the zones are PvE. The vast majority of the useful areas in the game are PvE. When you play the game, 95+% of the time, you are doing PvE in safety. So it's not like the game was like way too crazy with PvP and this absolutely had to go. But the craziest thing is I'm having people watching my old Ashes of Creation videos, like the ones from like yesterday, 2 days ago, leaving comments like, oh man, this looks so sick, I'm gonna buy in, I can't wait to try this out. Oh, and I have them like sending me Discord messages saying, it's not real. PvP is not real. What you saw, I'm sorry, you'll never get to experience that. There's no more PvP in the game. It's actually fucking crazy that I'm having a narc moment right now where the PvP isn't real. What you saw, not there. Now, unfortunately, there are quite a few morons arguing in complete bad faith that this is actually a good change. It is good for the game for there to be no PvP content. And to be honest, I think these arguments are mostly in bad faith, but I don't even think it's that. I think these people, for the most part, are just happy that PvPers aren't happy because you have to understand the mindset of these people. They are permanent victim class. Not because they're victimized. Nobody gets in non-consensual PvP with like all the PvP is opt-in. Like it's not like these people are getting like corrupted. Like that does not happen in the game. But the mindset of these players, they are hopelessly dog shit in PvP, which is not in a problem with their, but their ego won't let them actually like practice and enjoy the game and get better. So they're just like hopelessly dog shit, crab in a bucket. And they can't set like their ego aside and be bad at the thing before they get good at it. So what they do is they rail against the entirety of PvP. That is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Imagine if I spent all my time on Discord rallying about how I hate dungeons and questing. Like I just hate dungeons and questing and class fantasy and more. Like no one, this bridge doesn't go both ways. There are the weakest humans alive complaining about PvP existing, but you don't see like PvPers going, oh, I hate wars. I hate like what is this? Like we can't enjoy all aspects of the game. Like you're playing a quote unquote PvX game. We'll get to that. But yet you won't actually enjoy or participate or fucking not even just not complain about the other 50% of the fucking game. So let's very quickly dispel all of these bad faith arguments. First and foremost, PvP players do not care about the June Dark specifically. We're not like specifically attached to the June Dark or anything in that. It's not like we just want to gatekeep this one particular zone and have this be the PvP zone forever. That's not, like, people don't really care about that. They just want a flawless PvP zone that is worthwhile. And the way it's gone in the past is that the random zone that comes out is lawless. The way it worked in the past was the Sharplands area was lawless, then it was made normal PvE zone, and the desert was made lawless. The desert was made PvE, and the tropics were made lawless. The tropics were made PvE, and the June Dark was PvE. Problem is right now, there's not a lawless zone. The next one that you always hear is, well, lawless zones aren't intended to be the final game, not the vision of the game. The only thing that's lawless is the ocean, the islands. That's quite semantic. Islands, zones, they're supposed to be lawless territory in the game. Why do you think they put lawless zones in the alpha test? Why would they have implemented them? Why do you think maybe they want to test the gameplay? It's almost like gameplay skill of PvP and what players think about actually matters in a PvX game. What is that? What does that mean? PvX, it's almost like that's a combination of PvE and PvP. So it's 50%. 50, that sounds right. 50%? Weird. And while we're talking about catchphrases like PvX, what has been the impact of Ashes of Creation? Ashes of Creation is a game about this war. Okay, where's the risk? Where's the risk if there's no PvP? It's not like we have competitive PvE that's like super hard and cool. No, all of PvE is incredibly easy. Or if it's not easy, which none of it is yet, it can be served. It's the nature of this kind of game. Where is the risk? Oh, it turns out the risk is PvP. The risk is the other players. That's why the bosses are the way they are. That's why you can have crazy mechanics and crazy yes checks, because it's implied that the players in the strife between guilds and things like that are going to add to the difficulty of the game. Guess what? It's not real. And the next bad thing argument, just go PvP some caravans. Okay, yeah, the caravans that are moving faster than I can say Tiananmen Square Winnie the Pooh, and they've already gone to the tropics and back. Like Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go PvP some caravans. On the off chance you find someone running a caravan, which is rare, you attack them, and then it disappears, because everybody knows that if you just Alt F4, the fucking thing disappears. There is no caravan PvP. And there is no reason to run caravans, because do you really think you're going to compete with fucking Shang-Chi and Mulan with these caravans? You cannot compete. It is not worth it to run caravans for the gold. 100% safe. It's literally not worth your time. I'm gonna give you guys, you fucking idiots, some Econ 101. Guys, we're in a highly inflationary environment. What do you do in highly inflationary environments? You buy assets. You buy things that will shield you from inflation. What are those assets? Powerful items, rare materials. That is what you do to protect yourself from fucking Shang-Chi and Mulan inflating the fuck out of the economy. Because at least those items will preserve some fucking value. So that's why nobody is running caravans. There are some people who do for like guild commodities, but they just fucking disappear if you buy them. And the ones that you do see that don't disappear basically fucking disappear because they zip by you so fast. So yeah, I'm gonna go do some fucking caravans. And honestly, even there are people in my guild that have tried to run caravans as a way to get PvP, and people don't attack them. Firstly, I mean, yeah, it's kind of scary. Like some of the guys, you know, they just don't want to attack them because of who they are. But also because a lot of the times people aren't attacking caravans because they know they're just gonna disappear. Like they just walk by them because they, oh, it's the disappearing caravan fucking magic trick again. So what does this all mean? Well, basically there's no PvP content. At least none that the players actually engage with and actually worthwhile. The only worthwhile PvP content in the game right now is quite literally 2 islands in the middle of the ocean. That's it. There's 2 islands. Sometimes people will go to the lava. And most of the time, nobody's there. And when people are there, there's like 50 people. That is it. 2 places in the ocean for the entire game. It's actually insane. This is the least amount of PvP content that has existed in this game ever. Phase 1 had more PvP content because at least then you could spam Wardex as often as you'd like and you get PvP whenever you want. Now Wardex have long recharge time where you only have 3 like in PvP like that. And nobody does any other form of PvP. And there's no fucking lawless zones. It's horrific. And the final thing, why don't you just PvP in the non-lawless zones? Oh, just flag up. Yeah, I'm gonna do PvP in the non-lawless zones with corruption the way it is. Oh, there's only about 10,000 corruption baiting methods, exploits. Oh, if you're PvPing a guy, just fucking flag, run down, you gotta push on him, you get corrupted, 3 meters here. The corruption
Fuck.
And also, it's the whole reason a lot of people play this game. I know it's a PvX game. It's a PvX game, guys. Yeah, PvP is half of that. It's half of that. It doesn't mean they dislike the dungeons. It doesn't mean they dislike the lore and the world building and the art. Yes, you can enjoy that and enjoy PvP. I do. I like all of it. But man, if the game didn't have PvP, I wouldn't play it. If this was an only PvE game, I wouldn't be playing it. In fact, there have been other MMOs that have come out that don't have PvP, and I don't play them. So this is something they are going to have to fix actually rapidly, like for real, or the player base will drop off pretty dramatically, because even non-PvP oriented, like non-PvP oriented players in the same capacity I am, are still gonna be like, well, what am I farming all this gear for if I can't use this other way? Like everybody does it for farming PvP mobs. Favorite things. Like imagine you go to fucking Red Lobster and you're like, oh man, I like the seafood and the shrimp, but there's no cheddar biscuits. Like the PvP is the fucking cheddar biscuits. Like if Red Lobster had a post on their fucking window that said no cheddar biscuits, nobody's going inside. Nobody's going inside. PvP is the cheddar biscuits.
chase fights or pad kill cams. I'm a gambler, a crafter, an artisan, a PvE player who'd rather avoid combat. but I understand how important PvP is to a game like Ashes of Creation. I understand what it's supposed to add. I understand what Steven's vision is, but I also understand what Zyback and players like him are going to run into if they keep expecting the kind of PvP that they're used to. Because this is not Darkfall. It's not a free-for-all gameplay. It's not the sandbox slaughterhouse people are pretending that it is. It's a system, a very slow political system. And if your fun depends on fast action and constant conflict, this game is going to disappoint you. This isn't a hit piece, it's a warning. We're going to talk about what Steven Trees actually wants PvP to look like in Ashes of Creation, and why players like he wants risk, but only if it creates more fights, not fewer. He wants meat so long as it doesn't get in the way of farming kills. He doesn't want a PvP ecosystem. He wants a vending machine. If the game doesn't dispense on demand, it's broken. But Intrepid isn't building a PvP vending machine. They're building a world. A world designed for everyone, including the people who'd rather trade than fight, or who will fight but only when there's something real involved. In this game, PvP is not different. It's the cost of doing something important. Zyback wants PvP to be the main attraction, but Steven is making it the cover charge. And that's not a mistake, that's the plan. Because Steven didn't set out to build the next great PvP game. He set out to build a functioning world shaped by the players that inhabit it, and PvP is how players will actively change it. In most MMOs, PvP is a mode, a battleground, an optional toggle. In Ashes of Creation, PvP is pressure. It's what makes trade risky. It's what keeps monopolies in check, what turns politics into blood sport. It's not there just to be fun, it's there to make the world dangerous and interesting. And that's what PvP first players keep missing. Steven is engage with Flanker's guild unless the fight was
I
always
need
stacked in
to
Flanker's favor.
get
If
to level
Flanker's
60.
group showed up with numbers, they vanished. If the odds were even, they didn't fly back, because they didn't have to. And they're not the only ones dodging fights. Just recently, Intrepid had to patch the game so that caravans didn't instantly despawn when the driver disconnected, because players were bailing the moment they were under threat. Instead of fighting to defend their cargo, they just vanished. Not because the system was broken, but because it let them avoid losing. There was no reward for fair fights, no incentive to risk a loss, just opportunity cost. And that's the Achilles heel of sandbox PvP. You can remove the rules, but you can't force players to step up. You get conflict, sure, but only when it's convenient for one party. Only when it's profitable. Flanker didn't lose those fights. He lost the reason to care about them. Because what players say they want, freedom, risk, emergent gameplay, isn't always what they actually enjoy. They say they want danger, they say they want chaos, but what they actually want is a fight they know they can win. And Ashes of Creation doesn't give them that. Not in its current form. That's not a flaw. That's the point. Steven is building a system where fairness isn't guaranteed, where conflict is messy, and where PvP may never be balanced, because it's not supposed to be. But that reality is going to hit hard when the Alpha 3 crowd shows up in August, because for most players, getting stonewalled in dry spots, getting while gathering, out of the system is not content. It's a reason to uninstall. And here's the scary part. When fair fights get ignored, when risk is avoided, and when the best strategy is to fail before anyone can fly away, the only players still enjoying PvP are the ones who don't care about any of that. They're not here for balance, they're not here for conquest, they're here to ruin someone's day. Because if the system rewards disengagement, and the only reliable PvP encounters are ambushes on solo gatherers or ganks at grind spots, then what kind of player thrives in that environment? The ones who are just and here's the problem. Ashes of Creation as it stands today doesn't do a great job filtering those players out. If anything, the current systems encourage toxic behavior. Want to attack someone? You the bait. This is what happens when meaningful PvP turns into when the systems allow conflict but don't reward sportsmanship or discourage trolling. And
if I got a legendary
some
equipment on this shit, that's fine.
Some call it risk versus reward, and they tell us to embrace this side. The only players who stay engaged in the system are the ones making everyone else miserable. That's not a PvP system, it's a griefing simulator. Exactly like so many players predicted. Ashes of Creation players have been sounding the alarm since the first alpha. The systems are promising, but the incentives are broken. And that's not just on the community, that's on Intrepid. Because it doesn't matter how detailed the systems are, if the smartest play is still to run, dodge, or grief someone who can't fight back. That's not meaningful conflict. That's just a sandbox for sociopaths. Zyback isn't wrong for wanting better PvP. He's wrong about how we get there. It's not about frictionless fights or non-stop action. It's about building a world where conflict means something, where risk actually matters. And if Intrepid can't deliver that, we won't just get bad PvP, we'll get a game that only trolls can enjoy. That's all for today. You're welcome.
What the? Okay.
Let's be honest. PvP in MMOs usually sucks. It's either an afterthought, a battleground queue, or just an excuse for high-level players to gank noobs with no consequences. So, when someone like Zyback sees Ashes of Creation, an MMO promising open-world PvP, he doesn't just get interested, he gets invested. Because what Zyback wants isn't politics, it's not sieges, it's not balance or meaningful risk. He just wants to fight, often, anywhere, without the game. To him, Ashes was supposed to be a MMO that actually let PvP players play. No queues, no instancing, no theme park restrictions. Just conflict, wherever and whenever it happened. So, when Intrepid started rolling that vision back, removing lawless zones, locking caravans behind narrow PvP windows, and adding structure, Zyback saw it as a betrayal. Not because the design was broken, but because it wasn't built for him. And that's where this video starts. I'm not a PvP player. I'm not here to chase fights or pad kill counts. I'm a gatherer, a crafter, I'm an artisan, a PvE player who'd rather avoid combat. But I understand how important PvP is to a game like Ashes of Creation. I understand what it's supposed to add. I understand what Steven's vision is. But I also understand what Zyback and players like him are going to run into if they keep expecting the kind of PvP that they're used to. Because this is not Darkfall. It's not a free-for-all gank box. It's not the sandbox slaughterhouse people are pretending that it is. It's a system, a very slow political system. And if your fun depends on log in, find someone to kill, roll the clip, rinse, and repeat. What he doesn't want is to babysit a caravan timer. He doesn't want to miss the relic rotation and miss the chance to fight for one. And he definitely doesn't want to chase someone across the map just to watch them despawn like a mirage with legs. That's not PvP. That's a developer-created obstacle standing. Steven wants consequence. That's the difference. When lawless zones were removed, it wasn't some tragic loss of identity. It was Steven saying this is not Darkfall and it never was. PvP in Ashes isn't supposed to happen all the time. It's supposed to matter when it happens. And that sucks if your entire fun loop depends on never having to wait. You can hear it in how Zyback talks about content. He says he wants risk, but only if it creates more fights, not fewer. He wants meaning so long as it doesn't get in the way of farming kills. He doesn't want a PvP ecosystem. He wants a vending machine, and if the game doesn't dispense on demand, it's broken. But Intrepid isn't building a PvP vending machine. They're building a world. A world designed for everyone, including the people who'd rather trade than fight, or who will fight but only when there's nothing real. In this game, PvP is not the goal, it's the cost of doing something important. Zybeck wants PvP to be the main attraction, but Steven is making it the cover charge. And that's not a mistake, that's the plan. Because Steven didn't set out to build the next great PvP game. He set out to build a functioning world shaped by the players that inhabit it, and PvP is how players will actively change it. In most MMOs, PvP is a mode, a battleground, an optional toggle. In Ashes of Creation, PvP is the pressure. It's what makes trade risky. It's what keeps monopolies in check, what turns politics into blood sport. It's not there just to be fun, it's there to make the world dangerous and interesting. And that's what PvP first players keep missing. Steven isn't designing around PvP players, he's designing around the consequences of PvP action. Everything in the system forces hard choices. If you run a caravan, you lose everything. If you start a siege, it could wipe out weeks of progress for the entire server. If you kill a gatherer for no reason, say hello to corruption. PvP in Ashes isn't supposed to feel good, it's supposed to feel dangerous. Because when you fight, it's not just about who wins, it's about what changes when someone loses. When trade fails, the relic changes hands, the node collapses, and the economy will shift. That's PvP with context, PvP with stakes. And yeah, it's slower, it's political, and it's frustrating for kill-hungry players like Zybeck, but it might be the reason Ashes avoids becoming just another throwaway MMO. The problem is, design doesn't care about your schedule. There's no battleground queue, no daily checklist, no fight waiting for you when you're bored. PvP doesn't show up because you want it to. It shows up when someone gets in your way. And if it's not a game you're here to play, you're probably going to hate it. But what happens when the systems are in place and the only thing left is player behavior? That's where the whole open-world PvP fantasy broke down for Flanker. Not everyone misunderstood Ashes of Creation. Some players, like Flanker, got exactly what they wanted. Open-world PvP with minimal restrictions, inconsistent corruption enforcement, and no dev interference. A sandbox where players set the pace. And what did he find as a result? One of the biggest PvP guilds on the North American server running from fair fights. Envious, a North American PvP guild wouldn't engage with Flanker's guild unless the fight was already started. If Flanker's group showed up with numbers, they vanished. If the odds were even, they didn't flag out, because they didn't have to. And they're not the only ones dodging fights. Just recently, Intrepid had to patch the game so player events didn't instantly despawn when the driver disconnected, because players were bailing the moment they were under threat. Instead of fighting to defend their cargo, they just vanished. Not because the system was broken, but because it let them avoid losing. There was no reward for fair fights. No incentive to risk a loss. Just opportunity cost. And that's the Achilles heel of sandbox PvP. You can remove the rules, but you can't force players to step up. You get conflict, sure, but only when it's convenient for one party. Only when it's profitable. The Flanker didn't lose those fights. He lost the reason to care about them. Because what players say they want, freedom, risk, intelligent gameplay, isn't always what they actually enjoy. They say they want danger, they say they want chaos, but what they actually want is a fight they know they can win. And Ashes of Creation doesn't give you that. Not in its current form. That's not a flaw. That's the point. Steven is building a system where fairness isn't guaranteed, where conflict is missing, and where PvP may never be balanced, because it's not log up, the only players still enjoying PvP are the ones who don't care about any of that. They're not here for balance, they're not here for conquest, they're here to ruin someone's day. Because if the system rewards disengagement, and the only reliable PvP encounters are ambushes on solo gatherings or ganks at grind spots, then what kind of player thrives in that environment? The ones who are not looking for a fight, just a victim. And here's the problem. Ashes of Creation as it stands today doesn't do a great job filtering those players out. If anything, the current systems encourage toxic behavior. Want to attack someone just trying to harvest ore? No problem. Just flag for PvP, stun them, and let them fight or run away. Maybe they'll lose and you'll get whatever they gathered up that day. Maybe hours of work. Want to grief low-level players until they log off? Sure, corruption will punish you eventually, but only if they don't fight back and they die in the process, and especially not if you're just using plain white generic gear from the vendor. Want to drag someone into PvP they clearly don't want just to feel powerful? The system won't stop you. If anything, it just hands you the bait. This is what happens when meaningful PvP turns into meaningless harassment. When the systems allow conflict but don't reward sportsmanship or discourage trolling. And I get it. Some people call this hardcore. Some call it risk versus reward and it tends to embrace the suck. But if the only players who stay engaged in the system are the ones making everyone else miserable, that's not a PvP system, it's a griefing simulator. Exactly like so many players predicted Ashes would become. Ashes of Creation players have been sounding the alarm since the first alpha. The systems are promising, but the incentives are broken. And that's not just on the community, it's on the judgment. Because it doesn't matter how detailed the systems are, if the smartest play is still to run, dodge, or grief someone who can't fight back. That's not meaningful conflict. That's just a sandbox for social. Zydak isn't wrong for wanting better PvP. He's wrong about how he's thinking. It's not about frictionless fights or non-stop action. It's about building a world where conflict means something, where risk actually matters. And if Intrepid can't deliver that, we won't just get bad PvP, we'll get a game that only trolls can enjoy. That's all for today. You're welcome.
Bring it on!
What the? Is that supposed to be a fight? She got like a turret spawn.
let's be honest. PvP in MMOs usually sucks. It's either an afterthought, a battleground queue, or just an excuse for high-level players to gank noobs with no consequences. So, when someone like Zymo sees Ashes of Creation, an MMO promising to convert PvP, he doesn't just get interested, he gets invested. Because what Zymo wherever and whenever it happens. But I also understand what enjoying PvP are the ones ruining the entire game for everyone else. Zyback isn't wrong for being frustrated. If you take what he wants at face value, constant PvP, low friction, high uptime, then yeah, Ashes of Creation looks like it's heading straight off of a cliff. To him, good PvP isn't about purpose, it's about access. Log in, find someone to kill, roll the clip, rinse, and repeat. What he doesn't want is to babysit a caravan timer. He doesn't want to miss the relic location and miss the chance to fight people. And he definitely doesn't want to chase someone across the map just to watch them respawn like a mirage with relics. That's the thing. That's it. It's not there just to be fun. It's there to make the world dangerous and interesting. And that's what PvP first players keep missing. Steven isn't designing around PvP players. He's designing around the consequences of PvP action. Everything in the system forces hard choices. If you run a caravan, you might lose everything. If you start a siege, you could wipe out weeks of progress for the entire server. If you kill a gatherer for no reason, say hello to corruption. PvP Ashes isn't supposed to feel good, it's supposed to feel dangerous. Because when you fight, it's not just about who wins, it's about what changes when someone loses. When trade fails, the relic changes hands, the node collapses, and the economy will shift. That's PvP with context, PvP with stakes. And yeah, it's slower, it's political, and it's frustrating for kill-hungry players like Zybeck, but it might be the reason Ashes avoids becoming just another throwaway MMO. The problem is, this design doesn't care about your schedule. There's no battleground queue, no daily checklist, no fight waiting for you when you're bored. PvP doesn't show up because you want it to. It shows up when someone gets in your way. And if that's not the game you're here to play, you're probably going to hate it. But what happens when the systems are in place and the only thing left is player behavior? That's where the whole open world PvP fantasy broke down for players. Everyone misunderstood Ashes of Creation. Some players stonewalled in grind spots, ganked while battling, out-progressed by people finding the system is not content. It's a reason to uninstall.
Alright,
and
y'all.
here's the scary part. When fair fights get ignored, when risk is avoided, and when the best strategy is to bail before anyone can flag
This
up,
whole
the
thing is
only
laggy
players
for some
still
reason.
enjoying PvP are the ones who don't care about any of that. They're
It's
not here
also
for
very
balance,
slow.
they're not here for conquest, they're here to ruin someone's day. Because if the system rewards disengagement, and the only